From Bondi to Byron, the ocean holds an iconic place in Australian culture. Millions flock to the coast each year, drawn by the promise of sun, surf and fun. And the beach delivers in bucket loads. When the party's over, most reluctantly return to their daily lives. But in any given year, almost 100 won't make it home.
The ocean's an uncontrolled environment. You have to respect an uncontrolled environment because it certainly doesn't respect you. No matter who you are on dry land, it'll deal with you in a brutal way. And the ocean can appear to and can be quite safe, and you enter the ocean and it changes right at the time you take your swim.
Rip currents are the #1 hazard at Australian beaches, accounting for 90% of drownings and rescues. But a survey commissioned last year by Surf Lifesaving Australia found that just 4% of Australians knew how to spot a rip. In response, they launched a nationwide public safety campaign.
To escape a rip, swim parallel to the beach.
To escape a rip, swim parallel to the beach. To escape a rip, swim parallel to the beach. To escape a rip, swim parallel to the beach.
The ad sparked heated debate among surf safety experts. Some argued its message was too simplistic and potentially dangerous.
That message came from a diagram that was 100-year-old that showed rips going right out to sea. And it said, when you get to the mushroom head of that rip, swim parallel. Well, that doesn't exist.
Surf educator Craig Riddington was a world champion Ironman. He was so concerned by the campaign, he formed a breakaway group, Surf Educators International, to spread an alternative safety message.
In very few cases, the rip will go past the break. And what this research has shown, and the research in the States and UK, is shown that rips circulate within the break. Now, if people know that, there's the best chance of them arriving safely on a sandbank. If they stay afloat, they're going to change their actions. They're not going to want to swim back to the beach.
So just what should swimmers do if they get caught in a rip?
Well, the most important thing is don't panic.
The #1 thing to do is float.
If you're in a rip, stay calm and float.
Surfing scientist Dr. Rob Brander is a leading authority on rips. In a recent experiment, Dr. Brander and his team from the University of New South Wales put the rival theories to the test.
We put in these things called drifters or drogues. They're sort of constructed out of plastic and metal, and they're designed to float with the current. And we attached a GPS to them so we knew where they were, their location was, and how fast they were going. And most of those on that day went in circles. Only a few actually got spat out the back. The second thing we did was we actually put swimmers in, and these were trained swimmers, and we put GPS on them, and we put them in groups of 4, and we said, well, look, 2 people, you stay afloat and do nothing, just see where you end up. The other 2 people, you swim parallel and see how you go. And what really happened was that all the swimmers, they swam out of the rip. They eventually ended up on the sandbar with a fair bit of effort. The people who stayed afloat took a bit longer, but they ended up on the sandbar as well. So if you're looking for a definitive answer to the debate, well, that didn't give you an answer.
I asked Dr. Brander the easiest way to spot a rip.
The most common type of rip in Australia is one that sits in a deep channel between sandbars. And it sort of heads offshore, maybe straight offshore, maybe on angles. But because it's in that deep channel, it's in deeper water, and deeper water is always darker. And waves don't break as much in deeper water. So when you rock up at a beach, don't just run in. You should always swim between the flags if you can, but always spend 5 or 10 minutes checking out the surf. And if you start looking at the surf and you see these persistent dark gaps going through the areas of whitewater, there's a good chance that's a rip current. There's this debate, should you swim parallel, should you stay afloat? And you can probably debate that forever. But my opinion is, well, if we're debating about that, we've already failed, because we failed to stop people getting in the rip in the first place, which is why you need to focus on teaching them about rips and how to spot them and motivate them to swim in safe places between the flags.
There's still widespread confusion within the community about how to stay safe in a rip.
Don't get too drunk, and don't swim.
Just swim sideways. But float as well, just to know to float and to relax. The first thing is to stay calm and float. As long as you're floating, you know, then you can get out of, you can just relax and get out of it, so it's fine.
There's plenty of ways that people can die and people can drown, but beaches are something that, you know, it's our main tourist industry. It's our main asset that we've got, and often these circumstances when, you know, families don't go to the beach expecting to have somebody drown.
Surf Life Saving Australia conducted an internal review of the campaign, but the results have not been made public. A representative claimed the RIP experiment vindicated the campaign and that they would use the same message this summer. But the organisation refused repeated requests for information and declined to appear on camera. While the debate continues, Terry McDermott fears that drowning deaths will continue to make headlines this summer.
Yet again, this year we'll see those remote locations where there's tourist parks, highly populated areas as the summer wear comes in, and you'll see isolated drownings of either an individual or even a whole family. You'll see it again, I guarantee it.